Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody to Thriving Through Uncertainty with A Course in Miracles. This is week 7 of our incredible pilgrimage together, and it is August 11th, 2020, if you were wondering, and just so excited to join you. I was just talking to some of you who are out here live with me before the actual call, and it's just, I really do look forward every single week to being in this group, because for me, no matter what you might feel like, you are a maverick that is changing the world. No matter what you might feel like, every time you are daring to focus on your thoughts or daring to choose a little bit of peace, a little bit of mercy instead of pain, you are changing that dynamic, not only for you, but for all of us. And what people, a lot of times what we forget is that minds are joined. There's a collective, minds are joined, that you may think, how do I serve the world? How do I serve the world? What's my life purpose? Peace of mind is a great life purpose. Peace of mind, loving yourself, loving others. The Course in Miracles calls it healing as the vocation of the mind, right? That again, that how we deal with ourselves affects everybody. And particularly in the times that we're in a world pandemic and different things going on politically, different things going on socially, social justice wise, all kinds of things. You are needed now more than ever. Your mind, your love, your consciousness is needed now more than ever, especially for you, right? So never underestimate that. And again, every single one of you who is listening, whether you're here live with me or you're listening to the recording or watching the recording later at any time, we are doing this together. And this really is an amazing experience. One of the things about A Course in Miracles is very much like learning any major life path. It doesn't happen in one fell swoop. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that, wow, it doesn't just happen immediately, right? It happens, I believe, through osmosis and practice and osmosis and practice and nuances and nuances and nuances. So every moment is this, the second you signed up for this, you signed up for this journey, right? We all signed up for this journey together to start exploring anything that was going on in our lives from this perspective. So again, just so grateful to have you. I'm going to go into meditation, but before I do, and first of all, thank you for those of you who are saying hi on the chat here. By the way, some of you who are saying congratulations, I didn't mention it a lot on the recording, but if you may have read my Facebook post, but Paul and I have just celebrated 26 years together. So as of, was it yesterday? I don't know. So it was 26 years ago. Yeah, was it yesterday? Okay, yes. And by the way, I always think we are A Course in Miracles post children, because, it's not, like everybody, everybody will project whatever you will project, but we really have attempted to use this material all throughout our relationship. And it's really, really helped. It's really, really helped, of that. It really is the juice that makes things possible. That, I always say, I've often said to him, you know what, now I'm going to believe that anything is possible. If we are getting through this stuff together, I believe in A Course in Miracles. Before I was a little iffy, but the fact that we shifted this. And one of Paul's famous lines to me years ago, which I thought was such a great example of A Course in Miracles, there was a moment where I was really frustrated and we were having a difficult time. As many of you know, if you're in a long-term relationship, those moments arise. There was a moment when I came to him and said, I'm not sure. And it was really being honest. And I just said, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I can do this anymore. I think I'm not sure this relationship might be over. And he looked at me and he didn't miss a beat. And he said, you know what? I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. I think this relationship needs to be over. I think we need to start a new one. And I think that's just a perfect example of what A Course in Miracles is, right? Of that at any moment you can begin again. At any minute, you can begin again. The illusion that we all fall into is linear time. The illusion that we all fall into is thinking that the way it was yesterday is the way it's always going to be. The way that it was last week is what's always going to happen. And when we enter miraculous time, we choose again. We begin again. We start over with a holy power that can do anything. So that's what I want you to invite into this time for yourself. We are working with one of the most powerful lessons of A Course in Miracles, lesson 50, which says, I am sustained by the love of God. I am sustained by the love of God. You know, I don't know why this is, but some people, when they've done the workbook, I always remember, like, a lot of people quit at lesson 50 for some reason. They hit that lesson of I am sustained by the love of God, and they don't love that lesson for some reason. I've never understood it because it's one of my favorites. But I will say, if the word God isn't your thing, turn it into anything, right? I am sustained by the love of spirit. I am sustained by the love of love. I am sustained by the love of light. Whatever it is for you, right? You know, I was doing some inner work the other night, and I was talking to my inner teacher, and I was just saying, you know, I've never been comfortable with the term Jesus. I'm born Jewish, and so I've just never felt that comfortable or whatever. And so I was like talking to that voice, and what felt like Jesus said, hey, I don't even want, call me Hefe, call me boss, call me Hefe. And I'm like, oh, I can go with that, Hefe. So that's my new name anyway. So you might come up with yours. Now I've probably lost half of you forever. Like, okay, she's really weird. You know, I could deal with the inner voices with Paul, but now she's talking to Jesus and calling him Hefe, whatever. On that note, before I begin, I just want to mention very, very briefly, by the way, you're getting comments, Paul, of Paul is so wise. I never get I am so wise. I always get Paul is so wise. Yeah,
you share me well.
I share him well, exactly. I do want to mention very briefly, I am doing a free worldwide event. If you want to join me, I want you to join me. I really want to kick up some energy together. It's called From Doubt to Destiny, Living the Life You Came For, From Doubt to Destiny. I think it's August 20th. It's also recorded. And we're really going to look at how do you make those choices? How do you make the choice to believe? How do you do that? And how do you choose at this time in your life to choose the most miraculous path possible? So it's a free event. If you know anybody that might be interested, I'm really, you know, for me, my commitment at this time is I really am really loving creating a worldwide community together of us, of those of us who are shifting our minds. And we're going to go a little deeper into that workshop. I'm going to ask you to send me questions and I'll answer the questions. So anyways, just want to mention that you should get an email about it. If you don't, let me know. And I'm going to go into a meditation. So your job is to breathe. We're going to be using the lesson a little bit. I am sustained by the love of God. We're going to use that concept a little bit. And like I said, if there's another word that's better for you, then you're going to use that. So, so your job is to breathe. And together we are entering safe and sacred time. Wherever you are in this moment, whatever's going on, take this moment to just be here. And together we practice breathing all the way in and all the way out. Breathing all the way in and all the way out. If it helps you at all to place your hand over your heart or any other gesture that is comforting, that is guiding, we take this moment. Spirit, I give you this moment. I give you this moment. Together, we are now calling upon the highest inspired capacities. We are leaving our ordinariness at the door. We are leaving our limitations at the door. Whatever struggle or frustration or anxiety or discomfort of any kind that brought us to this moment, we are taking off our shoes. We are wiping our feet. And we are entering holy ground. And imagine, if you will, that you are inviting your spirit, your soul guide, your companion of infinite love into this time. And together we are holding the space for one another. Wherever you are, know that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are guided, that we are beginning together. Bring your vulnerability and your willingness to this moment. And taking a deep breath in, taking a deep breath out, taking a deep breath in, taking a deeper breath out. Holy Spirit, we invite you into this gathering. We invite the wholeness of spirit, the brilliance of your own mind. There is a presence within you that is whole, that is connected, that is untainted, and that has more power than anything you could ever imagine. And see if you can remember in this time a moment or a nuance or a glimpse of a time when you felt loved. Maybe a time when you felt safe, or a time when you felt seen, or a time when you felt like things were effortless, a time when you felt your spirit was alive. See if you can let go for a moment, not trying, not forcing, not straining. As together we hold this space for you, and we invite this presence. Spirit, show me anything. Show me anything that I am meant to see about your love. An image, a memory, a knowing, a body sense. Maybe it comes now. Maybe it comes later. Is there anything that your spirit wants you to know about the love that is here for you? Is there anything your heart wants you to know? Together we take this moment. Let it be kind. Let it be merciful. Is there a place where you've been judging yourself or unkind or frustrated or rushing? We are slowing down into spirit. I am slowing down into knowing. And wherever you are, hold the thought of love for everybody here. Everybody who needs love or light, sending them a thought. Holding this energy together, we are one mind, we are one heart, we are one soul, if even for an instant, and always in an instant. Anything is possible now. Anything is possible. I will not hold on to my tired views. I will not hold on to the tawdry image or self-identity I think I have. I will not hold on to linear time. Anything can shift in an instant, and it always shifts in an instant. And we are holding this energy together. We are holding this for you. I am holding this for you. You are holding this for us. We are holding this for the world. Because what we are doing here makes an incredible difference, moment by moment and nuance by nuance. And when you feel ready and in your own right time, begin to allow your beautiful mind to return. When you feel ready and in your own right time, allow your mind to begin to return. And know that we are holding this love for you always, always, always. It's always working. It's always working. Allowing yourself to journey back when you feel ready. Alrighty. Thank you for joining me in that. Yay. So I wanted to read you some of the language from A Course in Miracles from this particular lesson. You may have read it. You may not have. Either way is fine. And again, like I said, if the word God is not your thing, then maybe the universe is, maybe God is, maybe whatever. It just, you can put in whatever's right for you. But one of the things about the Course in Miracles or any spiritual path, don't let a language thing block the truth. Change it to what works for you, but don't let yourself be denied the power and the love just because your mind gets hung up, right? Your mind gets hung up with something in the past. So this is lesson 50, and it says, I am sustained by the love of God. Here is the answer to every problem that will confront you today and tomorrow and throughout time. That's a good sales proposition, isn't it? That's like, wow, right there. Like, oh man, I could just study this. Here's the answer to every problem that will confront you today and tomorrow and throughout time. By the way, A Course in Miracles like never doubts itself. It's not mild. It's not humble. It's like, this works. If you're not using it, oh well, that's your problem, but this works. So then it says, in this world, you believe you are sustained by everything but God. Your faith is placed in the most trivial and insane symbols: pills, money, quote, protective clothing, influence, prestige, being liked, knowing the right people, and an endless list of forms of nothingness that you endow with magical powers. All these things are your replacements for the love of God. All these things are cherished to ensure body identification. They are songs of praise to the ego. Do not put your faith in the worthless. It will not sustain you. Only the love of God will protect you in all circumstances. It will lift you out of every trial and raise you high above all the perceived dangers of this world into a climate of perfect peace and safety. It will transport you into a state of mind that nothing can threaten, nothing can disturb, and where nothing can intrude upon the eternal calm of the Son of God. Put not your faith in illusions, they will fail you. And then it goes on. So pretty bold promise there, and pretty true promise, amazing promise. So one thing I do want to say, because people sometimes get conflicted of saying, well, what does that mean? Or does that mean I shouldn't lock my doors? Does that mean I shouldn't, like buy insurance? Does that mean, like people get literal with it? And it's like, one of the things that I've learned through this study of the Course in Miracles is that spirit or love comes through everything. So here's one way to know, like if you're wanting to get in touch with your spirit, it's just getting in touch with love. Seriously, if you look at a puppy and you love that puppy, you've touched God. If you love your favorite chair and you have a love of the craftsmanship of it, you've touched spirit. Right? So again, we make it this big guy in the sky thing. And A Course in Miracles is never about that. It's about this presence that's in you, this infinite love that's in you that can do anything. And the reason I teach this and the reason I'm so motivated by it is it's a state of consciousness. in which new answers come and new possibilities come. I've said this often because for me, it's always fascinated the heck out of me. But when I'm in my creative mind, I have no limits. When I get creative, it's like, oh, I have an idea for this. I have an idea for that. Oh my God, this. Oh my God, that. Like that pop, pop, pop when you're in that creative mind. When you're in the depressed mind, it's like, oh my God, I can't see anything. Oh my God. And so the problem is that most of us think that the state of mind we're in is the world, right? Like when I'm depressed or upset, I think that's the world that's doing it. And we are here to learn over and over and over again how to choose again, how to choose again, how to get, oh, you got fooled. Oh, you got fooled. Oh, you believed in an illusion. Oh, you believed in, and again, by the way, it's never saying that your problems are illusions. It's never saying that your difficulties are, oh, that's a stupid illusion. It's never ever saying that. It is saying that there is this incredible power and presence in you that you forget. And these other things come up, but they're here as practices, right? They're here because that's how we learn how loved we are, because we overcome these things, right? So I'll give you an example of it. I'm talking about Paul a lot tonight, but Paul and I were talking a few nights ago, and we had set an intention or something to have like healing dreams. Let's have a healing dream, right? I, of course, remembered nothing. I mean, if I slept, that was good. It's like, I can't remember anything. So then he tells me like a few days later or whatever about his healing dream. So he'd asked for a healing dream. And what happened was, had a horrible dream. I don't remember the circumstances, but there was just a lot of stress and difficulty and pain, and he was scared. And so in real life, he woke up from this dream and he had to keep calming himself down and breathing deeper and getting centered and loving himself, right? And then he fell back asleep. And then he had a horrible dream again. It was like even more stressful and more tension, and so he woke up again and he did the meditation again about getting calmer and feeling centered. And, and so later, he was telling me about this, and I thought, oh, that's really funny in some crazy way, but that was a healing process, right? We ask for a healing and we think cherubs and roses are going to blossom everywhere, and, money is going to finally fall from the sky. And I think the universe was showing Paul, like, no, you've got it. You've got this energy. You've got this strength. And here's this challenge. And it's, like he could bring himself back. And I think we're all having the same dream. I think we're all having these challenging dreams at times, because when you bring yourself back, it's so empowering. It's this thing of, oh my God, I have this love inside me that can do anything. So I'm curious what your thoughts are, what comes up for you around this, or maybe you want to share a time when you felt that love, a time when, in the meditation, maybe you hit a moment where you remembered a time when you felt that love, or maybe there's a thought or a question that you have, or just anything, it is, again, as always, I love to teach through stories, right? So like anything that's going on for you is relevant for all of us. So I'd love to hear from somebody that maybe hasn't had a chance to speak this session that much, or just if you have something on your mind and you want to share. Otherwise, I'm just going to call on folks here. Jane, this is the problem of listening to me, because I can't resist. You have not spoken this session, so I get to.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And by the way, you can always say, go away, Tama. You can ignore me. I mean, I'm just curious though, what comes up for you around this? Or was there a time when you felt loved by spirit? Or do you have a question of what's going on right now? Or,
No, I'm in the thick of transitions and changes. Mm-hmm. And I'm tearful. So, and discovering that I have never loved myself at all. And I know that there are so many people who say, yeah, me too. And so now I am just beginning to go on my journey of falling in love with myself. And I realized, though, I think I was on my white horse traveling to myself, going to rescue myself, and I thought I could do it in a heartbeat. And here I am, and it's taking me longer.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think I realized I had to give myself a break with that
Yes.
and go easy. And in the healing, as you were describing Paul's dreams,
Hmm.
I'm dealing in the healing, you have to face a lot of things
Yes.
and not be scared of that.
Yes.
And so I think my soul and my everything about me is just very tired at the moment, but I'm working hard.
Oh, your
So,
soul isn't tired, my love. Your soul isn't tired at all. Your mind may be tired. You know, your mind or who you think you are might be very tired. Your soul is going, oh hell yes, she's finally looking at this. Yay, she will be free in this lifetime. Of Jane, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness, I so feel you. That is really, really beautiful. And thank you so much for sharing with us, because more than anything, what I've always wanted to do in all my groups is create that safety and that love, that we could say anything and have that support and love with us, that you know that we are all here with you. And you just articulated what a lot of people are going through, right? Because again, the world teaches us, well, you know, if you just get the right things, you'll be okay. If you get the right partner, you'll be okay. If you get the right income, you'll be okay, blah, blah, blah. And it's really all about that self-love, because I don't think we can feel spirit or God while we're hating ourselves, right? While we're
yeah,
hating ourselves, or while we're denying ourselves or not listening to ourselves. I think people will say, I don't even know what that means, God or spirit. And it's like, well, you can't when your heart is closed to you, right? So, but by the way, when you're feeling pain, Jane, and you're crying, your heart's open. Your heart is open, at least. Wow, that's awesome. And by the way, this journey always takes so much longer than our minds ever think, right? Our minds think, well, give me the 6 steps. Let's just hurry this along. You know, give me the 6 steps. Or I used to, you know, like be in therapy and like, if I paid you more, could we get done faster? You know, like if I, let's just say I doubled what I'm paying you, can we get done faster? I'm sure every therapist loved this mind of, you know, but here's the secret to going faster. If any of you are feeling like, oh my God, this is taking so long and I just want to be there, slow down, slow down. You know, the second you decide this can take all the time it takes, I'm okay if this takes a lifetime. I'm in it. Like, because when you're talking about self-love, Jane, right? It's like, I will be here for myself no matter what. And if this takes a month, if this takes a year, if this takes the rest of my life, it's worth it, right? So, by the way, for all of you who are healing, it's the most worthwhile journey in town. I know it's not sexy, right? It's like hard to say when somebody says, what are you doing these days, right? What are you doing these days? And you want to say, oh yeah, well, you know, I'm remodeling and I'm whatever. Well, you are remodeling in some ways. Yes, I'm remodeling. I'm remodeling my inner identity, you know, of
yeah.
just, again, there, you know, again, you're gonna, those of us who are in a healing journey, it's why we choose the spaces that we're in, right? The people we can talk to. So thank you. And thank you for letting me ambush you. I appreciate it.
I love you, Tama.
I adore you. I adore you. I just remember that one last time at Kripalu, and it's like, it has stayed with me forever. So yeah. Um, so I would love to hear from somebody else, maybe what's going on, what do you want to have going? Monica, I don't think I've called on you in this time, or haven't called on you in a while. Monica, um, yes.
Yes,
Yes. How are you? Or what's your thoughts, or what's going on? Or
I'm doing well. You're very soft tonight. I keep turning the volume up to hear you, but then turning it down when someone else is speaking.
that's too bad.
So am I too loud right now? Because I
No,
have my
you're
volume
fine.
up.
You're
Okay.
fine.
I think a practice that I have started doing, you know, people talk about the gratitude journal and that, but specifically what I chose to do was each day to journal 3 things that I love, honor, and appreciate about myself, or that I love and value about myself. And doing it like I would do as a grandmother, what I would do for my grandchildren in
Yeah.
regards to praising them,
Yes.
loving them for just who they are, no matter what they do or they don't do.
Yes.
And I started doing it to myself as to what are those characteristics, what are those traits, what are those things that I value about who I am. And that's really helped. That's really helped me get back into that place of just being gentle and kind and appreciative of who I am and not who I need to be. But just
I love it. Love it. It's beautiful. And, you know, I've also noticed sometimes when we're specific too, right? Like we know, yeah, I should love myself. I should love myself. But that specifics, like what you said, the way you would be with a grandchild, you know, of just, that's beautiful. And by the way, you know, again, some people could overhear a conversation like this and think, well, is this narcissism? We're just learning how to love ourselves and, you know, and do gratitude journals about ourselves. And it's like, it's the exact opposite. Because again, try this on, all of you. What if you are this vehicle of God? What if you are this chosen vehicle? You are the one and only chosen vehicle of your kind. And the more that you are loving, you are listening, right? Because we don't listen to our spirit when we're not loving, right? And so that's a beautiful technique. Thank you, Monica. Thank you for being here. Now, where are you from again? Where are you tuning in from?
South of Los Angeles in an area called Torrance.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Cool. I like that. I'm just trying to familiarize myself with people. So thank you. Somebody else feel like sharing? Leslie, you haven't spoken in a while. And hi, you. What's been going on for you? You're not, you have to unmute. It's rare for Leslie to be
okay.
muted.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Rare for Leslie to be muted. So
Yeah. now, yeah.
now, I love that about you.
Yo. Well, I appreciate you calling on me. I guess I've been wanting to talk for a couple of weeks, but I always honestly feel so overwhelmed. I don't know where to begin. And so I feel like I have to come across in some type of order to explain it and not go on and on and on and
That's
on.
my job. That's my job.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I'm thinking, I'm going back to, and still maybe kind of in the area when you were talking about grievances and having grievances and if they're not resolved. And I think, you know, my friend Elisa, I don't see her here tonight, but I share a lot with her. And I think with this new job, I'm just extremely overwhelmed. And I was just trying to step back from it and ask myself, you know, what is it that I have brought into my life again, right? Because I got 2 offers during COVID, and because our store was closed, I decided to go back to work full time. And I think I'm just getting an opportunity to do it different, except I don't know if I have the tools to do it yet. And the biggest challenge has been thinking about how I grew up.
Can I turn that off, Paul? I'm so sorry because he's got something
yeah,
on my
yeah,
screen. Can I
you
turn
can
this off? Okay, go. I'm listening. How you grew up?
No, that's okay. I'm just thinking about how I grew up.
Yeah.
My childhood and how I'm relating to my current job. That there was truly nobody in my arena responsible or accountable or took the horn. I felt like it had to be me. And I feel like that's my coping skills as a 12, 13, 14, 18-year-old, right? And coming into a situation at a job that I feel that. I feel like there's things that haven't been done that should have been done 2 years ago. I mean, it's a mess. It's running amok. There's no processes or procedures. There's no fluidity. I'm just having to dive in and try to fix it all. And it's fucking exhausting.
But how do you really feel, Leslie?
That's really how I feel. I could speak louder.
I wasn't sure I got that. I wasn't clear.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Well, I'm just exhausted, and my challenge has been wanting to find balance in my life. So I left a job similar, and I'm
going to interrupt you, and because I'm going to interrupt you because I see a theme, and then if I haven't hit it, then come back and tell me. Okay. But you know, it's really interesting. I've been doing you know, several coaching clients today before I did class. And it's been uncanny. Sometimes like every week, it's really weird. Like there'll be a theme. Like it's weird. Like everybody will have the same issue in a different way. And you're bringing up the same issue again. It's just bizarre. And, and there's several levels of it. So one of the issues is this. People find themselves going, how am I here again? How am I back in the same situation again? Or, somebody will talk about, God, I'm dating the same kind of guy again. How did that happen? Or I'm in the same kind of job again. How did this happen? Or I'm having the same issue with my wife again. How did that happen? So again, that's been coming up a lot for people. And I often quote this lesson from the Course in Miracles, this line from the Course in Miracles. It says, when you've come around to a situation that feels like you're repeating it or repeating it or repeating it, the Course in Miracles says that trials are but lessons that where you in the past chose something that hurt you or wasn't your highest good, you have the chance to come back around to the same exact kind of situation and this time choose differently. Right? So most of us, just like the Paul's healing dream, right? We just want to be airlifted out of the situation and never deal with it again. But I think the universe is saying, no, we're going to run this module again because you didn't quite get it last time. And, we need to run this module just again because we want to see if you can shift out of it and get the joke this time,
Yeah.
And so first of all, the first thing I'm going to say to you, Leslie, but to everybody else, you're not doing anything wrong. This is perfect. It's perfect that you're in the same situation. It's perfect that you're, quote, overwhelmed again, right? And here's part of what it is, because what I heard in what you're saying is, if I personally was coming into a situation, I'm coming into, let's say, a client's life, and they hired me to say, my life is a mess, help me, right? And I'm thinking, oh my God, they haven't dealt with this, and they should have done this 2 years ago, and whatever. I don't feel overwhelmed. I feel excited. I feel like, oh, cool, I can do this. I can make a difference now. Wow, they're a piece of work. Yay, I can really make a difference now, right? Like, so again, I'm also not taking this responsibility that I have to single-handedly fix everything and make everything perfect for someone else. They may have ignored it for 50 years, and it's my job to come in and rescue. And I think you are coming in saying, you have to make this perfect now, right away, no matter what they've done in the past, no matter the fact that we're in a world pandemic, it's all on Leslie's shoulders, and
I do take it on.
And you take it on, right? And so you're going to get this lesson over and over and over. Like, will you take this on? Ooh, will you take this on? Ooh, will you take this on? Until you say, yeah, no, not mine, not mine. I can help. I love helping. Yeah.
Well, Tama, I was thinking, I agree with you 100%. I was thinking when I took the job, it was completely different than I thought it was going to be. In fact, I even asked, I said,
isn't the universe sneaky that way? No,
yes, I said, it's even a mess.
Really different. This is different this time.
Well, and I guess I was thinking that I'm aware of it. And then I guess it feels like it's almost like an unconscious.
You bet it is. You bet it is.
Because it's like the tools that you don't have as a child.
Yes.
Coping skills, and now you're an adult and you intellectually think that you can do it different and do it better. And yet the same skills are still there from childhood, like this.
You nailed it, Leslie. You nailed it. One of the things the Course in Miracles says it is it's almost making the unconscious mind conscious. It's almost making the unconscious mind conscious of everything that's going on in our lives. All of a sudden, those issues come back up. And again, and Leslie, so for you, right, and for many of us, by the way, this is not unique to you, you've wanted balance. You've wanted self-care. You've wanted, and so you've swung one way or the other, right? You've swung into completely ignoring self-care, into, okay, now I'm going to do self-care. And I think the balance is what you've always wanted. And balance is always going to be swinging out of balance until we practice it. So this situation is here to love you, Leslie, right? Whatever you choose, it's here to love you, and that it's here to show you your power, that you can choose again. You choose differently, and I swear to God, everything changes. This is true for all of you. You choose to start thinking differently, and then, how many times, we're around somebody that, quote, doesn't respect us, doesn't ever respect us. But in reality, we never spoke up. We never even said anything, right? We went into old patterns. We decided somebody wouldn't respect us, so we didn't say something. So again, this is just a practice. It's not something you're doing wrong. And again, maybe you're triggered, Leslie. So when you're in that overwhelm, you're triggered, right? And so the real deal is to come back, to breathe, to know that I am sustained by the love of God. I couldn't do this wrong if I tried. I will not be let. I couldn't do this wrong. I can't mess up this life if I tried. I'm not that powerful. You will always be brought back around, always. And
Okay.
and actually, I see the love in it. Like for me, when I work with it, when I'm seeing it, because I'm also not in it, I kind of see the handiwork or the signature of that love. Like, oh my God, you're so loved that the universe. I have another client that always goes, "Oh, I'm so loved. I'm so loved." I'm so loved that this happened now. But it's true. It's like somebody that's tutoring you and saying, "Oh, honey, I want you to have the best. I want it to be perfect for you. So we're going to run this by one more time, so that you can see how powerful you are." So first thing I want to say is stop fixing it and rescuing everybody else. You're not responsible for what everybody else does or didn't do, even if you're in a helping profession, right? So thank you for letting me play with you there. So.
Well, I appreciate it, Tama. You always have words of wisdom, and it's helpful. And so I do appreciate it.
And Mother Mary says, let it be, right? We're speaking words of wisdom. I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
If I could sing, I would have sang it to you. But yes, seriously, but be kind to you. And here's the other thing. For those of you who are in overwhelm at any time, overwhelm is a crazy state of mind, right? And you think that you're always going to be in overwhelm. You think you're always going to stay there. And it's just a lie. So the first thing to do is whatever you need to do, Leslie, to ground, to feel peace, to be kind. And to just like if you were talking to a little child, to that little girl, it's not so bad, honey. It's fine. Do you need strawberry ice cream or vanilla? That's the only thing I need to know right now. I mean, like, just seriously, like talking to that child and loving that child and being calmer from that place. Everybody loves the ice cream thing. So
that's a really good point. It's a really good point. And I just one final thing I wanted to say is that, I really resonate with what you're saying. I can't believe how familiar the feeling is.
Which is why I know it's a setup, which is why I feel the love in it.
Well, and it's like our executive team. I have an executive team above me, and I reached out to them, and I waited several weeks to ask for help. And I finally asked for help to the SVP and my direct report and another VP. And I didn't hear back from any of them for a week.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. And I finally had to call. And did anybody get I'm drowning here. I'm drowning here, and there's nobody here to help me. So I get the messages, I got to figure out how to help myself. And
so Leslie, you know what? Next time you're drowning and there's no one here to help you, first of all, do all the realistic things you can, like get on the phone and call people. But go to this lesson. I am sustained by the love of God.
God, yeah.
I have helped. My mother may have let me down and not been available. My brother may have not been able to do it.
Yeah.
My ex-husband may not have been able to do it, or whoever. But but your God can. And again, when we are looking, again, that's what this is asking you to do, right? Is like to say, I need help here. Show me you're with me. I don't even know what that looks like. Because keep in mind, the help that you get may look very different than you think. When Paul asked for help as in a healing dream, it wasn't what he was thinking.
Yeah.
Right? Oftentimes the answer, I always joke around when people are saying, I am now praying for abundance. And I was like, oh yeah, well, now the bills are coming, because I know that in A Course in Miracles, we are here to undo the obstacles to the awareness of love's presence. The love is here. The miracle is here. The shift is here. You just have an idea in the way. And Leslie, the idea you have is, I'm all alone. And it's that little girl. I'm all
Yeah.
alone here and nobody is helping me.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's coming back to her. You go help her. You go help her. And you
Yeah.
call out to something else. So, and call out to us. Keep asking us.
Thank
So,
you.
thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Seriously, that's what we are here for, always. I'd love
Thank
to
you.
thank you, honey, and thank you for your honesty and being you. Ms. Zomi, I haven't had a chance to say check in with you this time. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. Really tuning into, or really during this time, I should say tuning into what I really, 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 really want to do, and
Mm.
being pulled into, or my tendency is to do what I think I should do. Really, that logical side of I should do this now, or this would be good to do now because in the future it will be something that will be useful.
As opposed to what I love and what rocks my world and what lights up every cell. I should do the other thing because that's what's
and do all the stuff that's really painful.
that's a good
really
point.
hard to do. And I still go back and forth with it and still go like, okay, at this moment, there's excitement when someone calls you and asks you to do something.
Mhm.
And I have a really hard time differentiating that excitement
Mm-hmm.
and what I really want to do, what I'm really called to do. So for example, I have a workshop that I've been asked to teach in the end of October. Yeah, but as you can tell, probably I don't really want to do it, but I keep on going back and forth.
Is it the same workshop that you had been talking about in when we did your work in the world?
No, actually, no, I already did that one.
Okay.
So I did. So yeah, thank you for the advice at that time. I did decide to just have fun with it.
Good.
I was like, whatever, I'll just do it. And it was okay. Actually, it turned out really well. It gave me some confidence that I can do this. So this another one, it's actually, though it's slightly related, it's not the same one, but it's the same kind of genre of work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm at the same place of, do I really want to do this? It's a great experience.
So you know what, so
yeah.
the thing I will say to you and to everybody else, sometimes it's just a big fat experiment, right? Sometimes it's just a bit, when you're finding your new life, a lot of you are talking about, identifying new things or healing or discovering new things. A lot of times it's just going to be a big experiment. We don't know. Some of the things I thought I would hate, I loved. Some of the things I thought would be right up my alley, I didn't love. And so some of it is experimentation, but I think what you're also saying, so first of all, I give yourself permission to experiment, and make nothing wrong. Instead of, let's say you do the workshop and you hated it, right? Instead of jumping on yourself saying, see, what is wrong with you? Why did you have to do that? Instead of, no, I needed to know this. By the way, there's a quote in the Course in Miracles I always use, when you know how you've done like something and it still went icky and you kind of knew it would, but you went back to it and you did it. There's a line in the Course in Miracles that says, let this be the last useless journey. Let this be the last useless journey. Like a lot of times we have to learn that way. But the other thing I would say to you, Nozomi, is maybe, and this is true for any of you, if you have a predilection that says, well, the joy, the fun thing, I got to put that on hold because this thing is more practical. Maybe you do an experiment. Maybe you do both. Maybe you decide, you know what, I'm going to put the fun thing first, even if it's a little bit, just to see how that I'm putting, again, for those of you who don't take care of yourself or sell out your time, put that first and then do the other thing. Even if it's a small thing, even if maybe it's not the whole life of that, right? But maybe it's a half hour of it. Like, when I'm writing a book, I'm very busy. I'm coaching, I'm speaking, I'm whatever. But I will just always do something to keep my hand in it. It's not perfect. It's not ideal, but I'm keeping my hand in it because that way it keeps me ignited, right? And so you're in that lesson where you're learning what's true for you. Like, you're seeing, but if you have a feeling of this is fun, by the way, for all of you, fun is energy. Fun is passion. Fun is health. Fun is where it's at, right? And your mind will tell you, yeah, but that's not practical. And I will tell you, that's where God is the most practical thing you'll ever do, right? Like, why would you light up at something that's not you? So,
Yeah, well, that's where I feel like, although it's experiment and I guess I should try that, but at the same time, it's like, well, why would I waste my time on doing something that it doesn't light me up? Why don't I just say no now? And
so maybe let's get rid of the idea of wasting time, because that idea of wasting time wastes time.
Yes.
Right? It's that idea of wasting time, like, oh, I just need to be moving faster. And it's like, if I genuinely don't know, or I think I know, but some part of me still wants this, then I'll do an experiment. Or I would say the same thing to you that we said last time of, how can I do this other thing that seems more practical? And how can I put fun in it, spirit in it, joy in it, juice in it, make it mine? How can I do an experiment? Right? But again, for those of you who think you're doing something that's going to waste time, that's the only thing that wastes time, right? It's like, give yourself more time, more patience, more permission, right? And just like everything in this life is an experiment, right? And I don't love doing this either, by the way. I can say this thing beautifully. When it comes to my own life, it's like, oh God, I don't know that I want to do that, but so thank you. I see a hand up, and then we're going to do breakouts because Claudia, you have a hand up there. Hello. You have to unmute. Yep.
Hi. I just wanted to speak of, the time that I most clearly felt spirits with. I divorced 8 years ago. I separated, and I had been married 19 years, and I'm from strict Catholic upbringing, and divorce was not acceptable. Yeah. Now, my parents were very vocal as, you're not happy, but that doesn't count because you're not being beaten and blah, blah, blah. So when I finally made the decision and said I'm going through with this, because I was listening to something very strong within, my dad called me up and said, you're not going to do this. You're going to come here with your husband. We're going to discuss this. And in that moment, I'd been very authoritarian type of home where you kind of were there to be seen and not heard, blah, blah, blah. So I felt myself being pulled back into this very dark tunnel where I was going back to being that little girl and daddy, you need to hear me. But in that moment, I wasn't alone. Yeah, I had a sense of something like putting arms around me and saying, you're not this little girl anymore. You don't need him to have your back. It wasn't a voice, but it was a sense.
A feeling.
And in that moment, I knew that I could have walked away from my parents because they were going to be so against this. And I came back and I said, I have nothing else to discuss. This is what I'm doing. And if that's the way you feel, if that's the way you feel, then okay. And I hung up and cried so much. I won't tell you. And I'd never had that kind of interaction with my dad because he's the one that spoke and all of us listened, and that was it. So he called back the next day and asked to speak to me, and I waited a few days because I couldn't speak to him. But then when I did speak to him, his voice was quivering, and he said, I might not understand why you're doing what you're doing or even accept it, but you're my daughter, and I'm always going to be there.
Oh my God, beautiful.
Now, my mom's another story, and she's still 8 years later.
Let's end at the good part of the fairy tale. never go to the evil mom part.
That's why he said, I'm always going to be here. And that's all I needed. I went to see him and he said, I don't know, how can I help you? And I said, I don't need anything. That's all I needed,
You know what? And that's such a beautiful example, by the way, for all of us, because when you finally honor your truth, right? First of all, you honor your truth That's how you feel your God, right? That's how you feel your soul, is you decide, I'm going to support myself even if no one else does. I'm going to say yes to myself even if no one else does. Then that's how we feel that God. That's how we feel that strength. And that's how other people who love us come around and we feel more loved than we ever did. That's beautiful. Thank you.
And something further happened because he became a man and I became a woman. Like,
yes,
he wasn't just tied to being, it's like energetic ties broken. And he revealed stuff to me about his own life that he would have never said after that. So lessons and so on. And I'm like, wow.
Perfect. Look how speaking our truth saves everybody. Look how really staying true to our truth. And that's what every single one of you is doing, which is why you rock my world. Even when you're not doing it, even when you're, wobbling with it, right? That's what we're practicing here. It's like that this is the potential of healing the world, right? We are blaming other people for us not living our truth. Where are you blaming someone else for not living your truth? Where they're waiting for you to wake up and live your truth, right? So thank you, thank you. I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to speak who might want to. So we're going to go into our breakthrough sessions. I'm going to give you some specific instructions here. I would really love if you have a chance to share with each other, just like Claudia did, a time when you did feel spirit, a time when you did feel love. Because what we share, we strengthen. And so often we're comfortable talking about our problems and our issues and our problems. And I want to create a safe space for you to do anything, of course. But I do want you to, if you can, encourage your partner to talk about a time when they felt loved, a time they knew it, a time they felt it. What were the conditions? What were they thinking? Let's just play around with it. Of course, if you need to talk about something else, and you talk about something else, baby, because this is your space. But more than anything, as always, we are here to support each other. We are not here to fix each other. We're not here to go on and on and on about a problem. If we're feeling something, that's fine. But this is A Course in Miracles where we're shifting our perceptions, right? And we're just holding that space with each other. We'll be 3 to a room. If you get orphaned by any chance, or like somehow it doesn't work for you, if you don't want to be in a room and you just want to hang out, because we're going to talk a little bit afterwards and I don't want you to miss that, but if you just don't want to do the breakout thing, just put something in the chat so we know that, like, hey, Tama, I'm going to hang out or whatever. Otherwise, we're going to try to put you in a room. If you get orphaned at all, stay where you are if you can in that room, and we'll find you, because sometimes we're fumbling to do it and then you pop out, it's like, oh no, so again, so we'll play with this. We will go for like 12 minutes to give you some time. There'll be 3 of you. Please be mindful of the time so that each person gets a chance to talk. Please, more than anything else, there's no accidents in this. There's always the synchronicity, good, bad, or otherwise. Even if somebody throws you off, right? Like, that's a lesson too, right? That's a healing too. So we're going to play around for 12 minutes. Are we good to go? We are good. We're cleared for takeoff. All right, enjoy. So I want to just hear a little bit about how that went. Before I forget, though, I just want to mention very, very briefly that you'll probably get a mailing, or you've gotten a mailing about, I'm doing a new program called The Whole Coach, which is a month-long program. It's 4 weeks, and the early bird special is ending August 15th, I believe. So if you're interested in doing that, please join me. It includes 3 free months of the Inspired and Unstoppable Life Tribe. And if you're a member of the Inspired and Unstoppable Life Tribe, then there's an extra discount for you. So you might want to check into that. I'd love to have you. And then the other thing I want to mention very, very quickly, and by the way, if you've been in that program and want to take it again, it's half price for you. The other thing I want to mention briefly is this series, Thriving Through Uncertainty with A Course in Miracles. We will start again in late September, but I'm doing a bonus thing that if you sign up, I think it's before August 22nd or something like that for the September class, you get 2 free classes beforehand. We'll be doing some VIP special, just more intimate classes just to hang out and get to know each other. And so you'll be part of that, of just because I don't want to go all the way to late September without meeting. So just wanted to have you join us if you can. So if you know you're going to go on with this, which I so hope you will, because it gets better and better and better. sign up, and then that way you get 2 free classes. So just want to mention that. And then the other thing, like I mentioned earlier, I am doing a free workshop that I really want you part of, or tell your friends, please. It's From Doubt to Destiny, Living the Life You Came For. And we'll approach this topic in a very different way about how to ultimately make those choices. So I would love to hear how the discussion went, what you learned, or just maybe you want to share a little bit about a time when you felt that connection, or just a time that you feel it now, or just, I'd love to hear from some of you. Mary Jo, I don't know that I have called on you, so I hope you don't mind me crashing into your living room here. How did it go for you, or what's going on?
Well, yeah, I have recently retired. I was with Missy, and I was telling her that a time that I felt loved was when I had my retirement party, and it was I worked with families who were homeless, and it was very meaningful work. It was almost entirely African American and African families.
Mm-hmm.
And the kind of response that I had was so overwhelming. And it was interesting because I felt like I even in the midst of that, felt that I wasn't worthy, that can't be me that they're talking about.
Mm.
And so it was just a very interesting kind of experience to have that. But I think it was a lesson for me that, you know, if you're your genuine self and you're really trying to be who you are, that
Yes.
comes through.
Yeah.
So
that's beautiful. That's a really great example. And by the way, for those of us who feel like squeamish when people are seeing something really great and really wonderful, right? Of what if they were seeing the light in you? What if they were seeing the presence in you? What if they were seeing the God in you? You know, I remember years ago, I remember I had the same issue where, you know, like I used to have this real fear that people would read my books and then they would meet me and be disappointed. You know, like I was always like terrified that people would read one of my books and really like me or have an idea of who I was. And then I would speak and it'd be like, oh, you know, I mean, just like it was just this stupid fear, right? And I remember I was talking to Greg Lavoie. Some of you may know, he wrote the book Callings or whatever. And he told me a great story where he told me that he said, you know, I used to get all these great testimonials from people about how great I was. And he said, and I never even listened to it. I just like, it would just wash off me. I would never pay attention at all. And then he said, one day I decided, what if I paid attention to that? What if everybody is saying the same thing? That they must be seeing something, right? Like they're seeing something. And what if I allowed that? And I remember I heard that and I thought, you know, when people say nice things about me or whatever, I'm going to start believing it. You know, I'm going to start, like, instead of letting it roll off. And by the way, for those of us who've been talking about self-love, what if it's a moral responsibility to allow yourself to be loved? What if it's a moral responsibility to allow yourself to be loved, to see yourself as worthy, because you have gifts to give this earth, and you have truth to speak to this earth, and you have things to do here, right? And for all of us who are playing small and going, yeah, not me, but you know, but not me. By the way, we all feel small and we all feel vulnerable. And the thing I always have to, every time I teach a class, there's part of me that thinks, oh my God, am I going to be okay? Is this going to be all right? You know, whatever and then I always have to remember, I'm not alone. I'm not teaching the class. I'm not alone. This is a co-creative thing. I'm asking for something. So I love that story, Mary Jo. And it's like, what if in that moment, that was Spirit saying, we see you, we see you, we see you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That'd be good to hang out in that feeling. You know?
Yeah,
Seriously, for all of you.
Now that I'm retired, I also was saying to Missy that what you were saying about the secret to being faster is going slow. And that's really tough in retirement, wanting to still do something meaningful, but you know, having the patience. And
I deal with this issue every day of every week because it's the people I work with are always trying to find their calling and their dreams and or whatever. And I promise you, you know, and it's so frustrating because we're so afraid. We want a definition. We want a definition. We want a track. We want to know, but what am I? But what is this? And it is the willingness to undo. It is the willingness to undo the old beliefs that I'm not anything without a definition, that I'm not already on a track. Mary Jo, you're already on a track. It's already happening. It's already here. You're just paying attention. Does Mary Jo light up here or does she light up here? That's all. That's your only job right now, right? And that's true for any of us. And the definition will come from there, right? Most of us are thinking about trying to find that definition instead of let's find the energy, because wherever that energy spirit is. And by the way, for all of us, and I'll be talking about the lesson for this week in a little bit, for all of us, we're here to give. We're here to give more love and more love and more love, because the more love we give, the more it's coming through us, the more we're receiving it. And that doesn't mean that I have to leave my house to do it. Doesn't mean I have to join some Peace Corps. Doesn't mean I may love people by planting my garden. I may love people by sending them love in my mind, right? And like, you know, we have this belief that certain things mean something. And we are learning a completely different path. So for all of you, the biggest thing in all of this is not so much what you do, but the beliefs that you undo. The part of you that's restless, that says, I'm not getting anywhere. I'm not getting any younger, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, the fear, because it's the fear that stops us from the knowing. So thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome. I love ambushing people here. I'd just love to hear maybe somebody else's experience of a time when they felt loved, a time when they felt God. I don't think, both Emilys, I haven't heard from either of you, I think. So I'm going Emily Hagar first, and you're on notice, Emily Godfrey. And only if you want to. So I'm calling it Emily Hagar, of just something that came up for you.
Hi, I talked last time about all my overwhelm with life. But a time, I actually did have a similar when I left my last job I was at for 13 years and felt like I had grown, like that was my family in a way, because I moved away from home, small town in West Virginia, did a new job and stayed there for 13 years. That became my family, but I had a good going away gift there of pictures, and it was made me feel very loved.
Yes.
And the new job I'm in has not turned out so great, so I'm kind of feeling that pull of,
that's right,
the entire industry I'm in is not what I want to be in or what I want to be doing, looking for a whole shift, but kind of feeling the overwhelm of how to let that, when to let it go, because I feel like it's taking all my time and stressing me out.
Yes.
Similar
And
to
I
what someone was
promise
saying earlier.
Emily, I promise you, you will know exactly when. You will know exactly when. There will be a moment where you just know, right? You don't have to force it. You don't have to make it happen, you know, but it's also good. It's like, it's that last useless journey thing again, right? It's like, okay, I've done this. I don't love this, but that contrast is going to catapult you into what's next. Because it's, you know, I don't know if you've ever noticed that, but sometimes it's people who have great relationships, always had a really crappy relationship beforehand, you know, a lot of times, because it was like so crappy, but then they knew what they wanted next time. They knew what they wouldn't settle for, you know. And so, again, I think the same thing with jobs. It's like, this is preparing you for something great. It really is. And we have to get sick enough of it, you know, we have to get to find the energy, because we're all coping, we're all accommodating, you know.
I think that's the thing. It's like, where's that next creative spark? So am I supposed to be focusing on a creative project or moving somewhere else because I don't have time?
Emily, what I would focus on right now is love yourself more. You're going through a hard time. You know, so it's like the worst thing you can do is like, you're going through a hard time and it's like, well, be creative, you know, and find a creative spark, for God's sakes, you know. Yes, you're miserable, depressed, and angry, and you hate every aspect of your life, but you could find a creative spark. Come on. You know, it's like, that's not how we find creative sparks, right? They find us. Like right now, your only job is, how do I be kinder to Emily? She's in a tough time right now. How do I be kinder? How do I be more patient? How do I be softer? And watch the part of your mind, and this is true for all of us, watch the part of your mind that goes, I'm always going to be here. It's never going to change. The world is really scary. It's screwed up. It's never going to be different. That's the part that's lying to you.
Or it's a punishment. I think that's like
Punishment.
what I'm reading in A Course of Miracles, that stop punishing
Yes.
ourselves.
Yes. And Emily, oh my God, if there's a part of you that ever thinks this is a punishment, that's what I'd go into. Let's forgive that. Let's forgive the thought that you ever deserve anything like that, ever. So thank you. And thank you for letting me ambush you again. I guess I needed to.
Yeah, needed a lesson again.
My other Emily love.
Unmute. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so I love the focus of, finding love and gratitude in tonight's class. And you've heard this before, Tama, but I do feel so grateful about this pandemic in the sense that it's really forced sort of the world and all of us to kind of stop what we're doing and reflect. And the pandemic has kind of brought me to, I live across the street from a lake, and I've lived here for 5 years, and I think I went into the lake once. Like, I had all these stories about how the lake wasn't quite clean or whatever, and I've been going into the lake to swim almost every morning, and it's a bit of a block, the process of like getting your swimsuit on, and it's early in the morning, so it isn't supposed to be hot, and but once, like, the minute I like dive in and I sort of get used to the water, it's a little on the cool side, I just feel so grateful, and I do feel like at that moment I am with God, in the sense that I've got an entire lake to myself, and I can just swim any which way, any stroke I want, however long I want, and and it's just this time to do that. And as I was kind of walking back to my place and thinking, this is a time of reflection, and as you were saying, sometimes you need to slow down.
Yes.
And I just, despite all the tragedy and all the awful stuff that's going on, that is kind of my silver lining of just saying, like, thank you to the world for like forcing me to slow down, to really engage in nature in a way that I hadn't when it was right at and when I start my day in that level of gratitude, it just makes such a difference in terms of how the rest of the day goes.
That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. And Emily, may you always remember that feeling of what it's like to be in the lake, like what it's like to be free that way, of just that moment of that freedom. That's with you always, right? I know there's part of my mind goes, well, I could feel God too if I could swim in a lake, it's just, but that's not true, right? It's like we each have exactly what we need. And I agree with you, Emily. I think this pandemic is doing a world of good. I really do. It's dismantling a lot of things. It's challenging, it's tumultuous, but it's also slowing us down to our real values. And a lot of us are finding real clarity that way. So I love hearing that. And that's such a great visual of that's what that feeling is for you. And may you always know that's going on. Even when you're in a meeting, right? You're still swimming in the lake, your soul, right? That's who you are. Right? Yeah. Thank you. Jean, I have not had a chance to say hello to you and hear how you are at all during this series. Jean, I can't hear you. You got to unmute yourself first. Yeah. There you go. Beautiful. Hello.
Okay. Hello.
I have a hard time picking one place to talk about where I felt loved. But I think the most dramatic one was when when I had the stroke. And I'd always say, oh, I've lost friends. People love me. I feel good. People love me. I I was never able to take it in like I took it in. And I had people, I was a therapist, and I treated many people over the years. And I had, how they knew, I had over 300 calls,
God.
cards, from people all around the country. And everybody was doing things like saying, one thing that really people said, I felt unconditional love for the first time in my life being with you. And I mean, and when I even think of that, I mean, it was 30 years ago, but I loved my life before, but since that experience, wow.
And Gina, I will second that. I have felt unconditional love with you as well. I have felt that presence from you. I mean, just you exude it. There's just a safety and a love in you. But I love that you got to take it in, that you got to experience it.
And I really had never, I mean, I just very flippantly say, I had lots of friends. Yeah, a lot of people love me. But, oh God, I mean, yes, God, thank you for taking the, I mean, it really took board over the head to say, hey,
can you feel me now? Can you feel me now? Can you feel me now?
yeah. And so my life, I really have been, this is really crazy, but I've really been joyful.
Oh.
And, and my life changed completely, but it's been wonderful. And it's kind of, most people say, oh, poor baby, you had a stroke. Yeah, I had a stroke.
I hope it happened to you.
I think there may be.
Jane, I'm so glad you said this, because it's such a great example. From A Course in Miracles, we never look at the events of somebody's life to decide how they're doing, right? The events, like most of us in life think about people's circumstances, right? And A Course in Miracles is all about the experience, how you feel about it, what you get out of it. So that's a perfect example. Nobody would consciously say, wow, I hope I get a stroke, right? And yet, it was the thing in your life that helped you receive so much love. And by the way, for many of us, it's true that we get more vulnerable somehow, or we can't do something somehow. And that's when the love comes in, right? That's when, because most of us are such forces of nature, and we're taking charge, and we're whatever, and we're taking care of other people, and you let yourself receive. So I love that example, especially because when people say, well, but this bad thing is happening to people or whatever, it's like, you don't know. You don't know what their experience is. You may know the event, but you don't know what it is for that soul. And again, on a spiritual journey, we're not judging the facts and the circumstances, but who we become because of them, right? So thank you. I'm going to give us, and letting me talk to you, yay. So I'm going to give the concept that we're going to be working with this current week. You may have heard this concept many different ways. It's a common spiritual concept, but I don't think it's always understood. And it's, so the lesson we're working with in the Course in Miracles is lesson 108, and it says to give and to receive are one in truth. To give and to receive are one in truth. And so what we're going to be playing around with, learning, and just playing, it's an experiment, right? There's no, by the way, the thing about Course in Miracles, the reason I've stuck with it for all these years, there's no morality in it. It's not a moral path. It's not a, you should do this. You'll go to heaven if you do this. You actually will go to heaven if you do it. You'll just go to heaven right now, right? It's not so much as you're going to heaven in an afterlife. It'll shift your moment right here. And that's the whole point, right? So, but what it says is that most of us are coming from this get mentality. I need to get this thing. I need to get that thing. I need to have this happen so that I can be okay. I need to have this happen so that I can be okay. And of course, Miracle says, you're already okay. You couldn't be more okay if you tried, right? There's a fullness and a love that's already there. But in giving, that's how I experience it. When I start to give love. So I know for myself, when I'm depressed or low energy, I really do it's all about me, like what I don't have and what I want. And there's nothing wrong with it. But sometimes I will like invite myself. I wanted to say force myself, but I'll say invite myself. Sometimes I will invite myself to take that sadness or that offness and to say, someone else is feeling off or sad too. How can I send them love? How can I say something loving or uplifting to somebody else? By the way, those of you who are coaches or therapists or massage therapists or in business for yourself in any kind, and you're thinking, I need to get business. No, you don't. You need to give love and give love and give love. Because if you're giving that love, that energy goes out, it is impossible for it to not come back. But even more important than coming back, it's coming through you. So I want to read you something. This is actually not through Thriving Through Uncertainty. This is my other book, Inspired and Unstoppable. And I'm going to read, I forgot what page it is, but I'll tell you in a minute. It's on page 262 if you decide that you want to look it up. So this is page 262 in Inspired and Unstoppable. And I'm just going to read this. For me, it was a moment of realizing that I wanted to give even more than I wanted to get. So I wrote, for years, I waited for the world to give me permission to shine. I wanted the world to carve out a path for me, reserve a beach cabana in my name, or roll out the red carpet. I didn't realize I was the magic carpet. I was the burning bush. I was someone who could make a difference in someone else's life. Finally, I stopped bargaining with the world for approval, cash, compensations, and invitations. I started allowing myself to feel the exquisite authority of giving what I had to give. And here's the marvel I discovered. Unconditional love is unconditional power. You are the steward of an unimaginable resource. Discover who you really are by giving and shining unconditionally. The world can't give you this power. The current culture often doesn't invite genius because it doesn't know what it doesn't know. Dare to experience your own grandeur, the feeling of giving everything you have and receiving everything you are, all in the same breath. As you do this, the quality, energy, and form of your expression has to expand. It's inevitable. Big love attracts big love. So I'd love you to play with that a little bit about where can you be giving love? Where can you be, everybody's hurting, everybody's scared, everybody's finding their way, everybody, even if you're in a job you hate, right? It's like, these are still people. They don't know what they're doing. Like, what if we gave them the benefit of the doubt? Because I guarantee you, if you start doing this, you will see them differently. If you start giving love, and don't give fakey love. I'm not talking about like, pretending like, oh, I love this person when I don't. But it's just me, but it might even just be simply, I wish this person peace on their journey. I don't get them. I wouldn't want to hang out with them, but I wish them peace on their journey. Or I'm sending them love, or I'm sending them light. Again, you can feel the difference of that energy moving through you as you send it, or as you give it, or as you listen to somebody in a certain way, right? So play with it this week. It's expansive. I want you to start tapping the power that you have. We're waiting for the opportunities, and the opportunities are waiting for us, right? So it's like we have everything we need right here, right now. Like, start thinking about, where could I be more loving? Who could I give love to? We all need it. Maybe you just send somebody a positive email. Maybe you mow your neighbor's lawn or just anything, right? We're just going to play with it. And by the way, if you don't feel like it, then give love to you, right? This isn't force. This isn't like get out there and be generous. If you don't feel like it, don't do it. But again, there is you have more to give than you know, right? So I'm so grateful to be hanging out with all of you. So we're going to play with that. We will meet here next Tuesday. And like I said, if you have a chance and you want to join me for any of the other programs, they're in your inbox or they're on my website or whatever. If you have questions or thoughts, please write them in. Now that I'm saying that, I think there were like 2 of you that wrote in. I will answer next week because I think 2 people wrote to me that I forgot to read. So thank you so much for being here and being your beautiful, beautiful selves and sharing your space with me. Thank you. And if the gods are with us, I will be upstairs and you'll see the red bureau behind me. So I will see you guys later. Love you guys. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you. Yeah, I love when you guys unmute. Yay. Oh, and by the way, quickie. If any of you want to send me some light, this is really stupid. This is just personal request. I have a photo shoot tomorrow and I'm nervous. I hate photos. I hate photographs. I hate doing this, which is really stupid. Yeah, I know. But like, I'm beautiful as long as I'm not in front of a camera, because then it's like, what anyways. I get all up in my head. So I'm calling up all my miracle people, because I want to get it perfect. I want to do it once and never have to do it again as long as I live, which is not the right attitude. I'm told it's not exactly the right attitude. So this is really stupid problem, but if you feel like sending love, I'll take it.
Nothing is
Have
stupid.
fun with it.
Thank you. I know everybody says have fun with it. And it's like, I don't know. I'm not one of those people that like, work it, girl, work it, right?
Well, you just told us. Well, you just told us to do that.
I know, but that's for you. I have to get out of my head. I have to get out of my head of making it perfect, and I have to give myself permission. The thing that's been helping me is I'm giving myself permission. Take 1 million photos. If you don't like any of them, take 1 million more. Who cares? Just do it. Don't make this a big damn deal. But it's like, it's all this stupid pressure of, I'm doing a new website. So it's like, is this look really the look? Is this really the brand? Whatever the hell that is, so that junk, so.
It's all spirit, right?
It's all spirit. Thank you. That's what I'm taking. Seriously.
Sending you love. We'll be sending you love.
Thank you. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you. I love you.
Tama. I love you.
Bye. And Corinne, I agree with you. Our 25th was way better.
Come back.
Yes. 26 wasn't bad, but
Amen.
Bye.
guys later. Thank you, love.
Bye.
Next
Thank
week.
you, Tama.
Mwah, mwah, mwah.